We are going to talk about 5 thrifty marketing plays for a small business. So my background, actually, I used to run a digital agency in New York City for 16 years. I worked with hundreds of businesses in every single industry imaginable, trying to sell their products and services to all sorts of customers. So I have a very sort of wide background in marketing. And most of my marketing background at that point in time was for medium to large scale businesses. Well, since then, I have been helping small businesses, and it is a totally different ball game. So when you go out online and you start to research and try to educate yourself about marketing, some of the things that come at you are actually not appropriate for a small business. They are generally a good idea, but maybe a good idea for big business. So what I want to talk to you about today is 5 inexpensive ways to get yourself in front of customers if you're a small business. So what are we doing here? Basically, digital marketing today is very, very overwhelming. Back in the day, you didn't have that many choices: TV, radio, billboard, magazine, handful of options in order to get your message out, and that was it. Nowadays, we have digital options, and it's everything from email to social media to in-person events, sweepstakes, lots and lots of ways to get in front of people, Google search results. And it's all very technical. And every technical piece is a specialty for someone. And it's very overwhelming and very confusing. But marketing is effective. So while it can be overwhelming and expensive, it actually can move your business forward. So there are a few ways to get the word out with little to no marketing budget. And that's what we're going to focus on today. But before we get into those 5 plays, I just want to teach you or tell you about how to play the marketing game, because there are some rules to how we play. So the marketing game, it's as simple as to find one repeatable way to convert strangers into first-time customers. Now, the important thing here is that they are strangers. A lot of times marketers will say, oh, this is a prospective customer. They're not a prospective customer. They do not know you. They have full-on stranger danger, and lots of people are trying to get in front of them. So in order to create a stranger into a first-time customer, it takes a little bit of effort, but you should know that the game is to only find one repeatable way. You don't need to try, you probably have to try a few things, but eventually you'll get to one repeatable play. Now, if anybody has, any of the ladies out there, any of the men out there who have received the 20% off coupon from Bed Bath & Beyond, that is their one repeatable play. They bring you in, you get 20% off one large ticket item, and then you pay $40 for a spoon. So they don't do a lot of other marketing, and they don't have to do a wide variety of things. They found their one thing that works, and then they do it over and over and over again, which is why we have a stack of those 20% coupons in our purses or on our counters. So there are rules to this game, and the game, the rules are pretty straightforward. Strangers need to go through a few feelings before they buy from you. And those feelings are, it's actually a 3-step process: know, like, and trust. They need to know you exist. They need to generally like what you're offering. And they need to trust, not you, but that the money is worth it. They want to make sure that they're getting value for their dollars. So they can spend a little bit or a lot, but they want to make sure it's worth the spend. In order to get through that process from know to like to trust, in order to get a stranger to a first-time customer, it takes between 3 and 12 touch points. So you got to get in front of that customer between 3 and 12 times. Now, 3 to 12 is a pretty wide range. So, how do you know which side you're on? Well, 3 is for a very small price item, like a kitten mug. So if you have a mug, we don't have a lot of questions about how mugs work. We're not concerned so much about the mug quality, but if that picture of a kitten is pretty adorable and I put it in front of you 3 times, there's a chance that you're going to add it to your cart right then and there. Now, if I'm selling a car, and actually I chatted with a friend the other day who's in radio, I had always learned that it was 12 times to get somebody to go into a car dealership. He's saying now it might even be 14. So we got to get in front of somebody 14 times in order to get them into a car dealership, which is why there's so many car ads all over the place. So the majority of conversions, though, for any business happen between 5 and 8 touches. And this is really important. So as you reflect back on the marketing that you've done, the advertising that you've done, the promotion that you've done in the past, some of the things that you've tried may not have worked. And I would say, think about those things that didn't work. And in your mind, say, did I touch that person 5 times? Did I touch that person 8 times? If it was only once, then it's likely it won't, or it didn't work because you didn't have the frequency. There is one exception to this rule, this 5 to 8 rule, and that is the referral. So when somebody refers you, you're no longer in a competitive situation. You no longer need the 5 to 8 touches. A mom comes up to me and says, I love this shampoo. It's absolutely amazing. You should check it out. I go to Amazon, I add it to cart, 1 touch, I'm done. If a dad comes up to you and says, you should really get this tire cleaner. It's the most amazing tire cleaner. It really makes the tires shine. You don't need a whole lot of convincing. You go to Amazon, you buy it, you add to cart, 1 touch. So where possible, we want to start with encouraging referrals, because it's the easiest way to get somebody from stranger to customer and doesn't require the 5 to 8 touches. So let's talk a little bit about who is on your team. It may not be who you think. So when you're a business owner, usually you're thinking, okay, I want to go out to the marketplace. I want to promote what I'm offering. I want to get customers for me. But the truth is that you need some teammates out there. We don't want you to drink alone. We don't want you to market alone. And the people who are going to be your partners in this effort to get new customers are other business owners. The way to tell which business owners would be good partners for you would be whether or not they share the same target customer. So let's say I run a nail salon, you do massages and somebody else has a yoga studio. We all serve the same customer. And we each, let's say I have 100 customers, the other person has 100 customers, another 100 customers, that's 300 customers. If we do a joint promotion together and promote it to our own people, we actually can increase our customers from 100 to 300. And we didn't have to do any advertising. We didn't have to pay for any marketing. All we had to do was partner with other business owners, small business owners that shared our same target customer and come up with a joint promotion. Now, because these other business owners are recommending me, I no longer need 5 to 8. I'm not in the 5 to 8. I'm not in the competitive situation. I don't need lots of touch points. I'm already trusted. Now, aside from other business owners that share your same target customer, there are also business owners that offer exactly what you do in a different town. So let's say, again, I do yoga. People tend not to travel for a yoga class. They'll find a yoga class within their area. Anyone else who offers a yoga class, we could all get together and create a wellness event, right? We pool all of our resources. We all put $100 in the pot. We get 10 of us. We have $1,000 for this event. And we host a wellness event and we invite everyone and we tell all of social media about this event. And we send out emails to each of our respective customer bases about this amazing event. And people who are not current customers hear about it and they come to the event and they're, maybe we get a speaker or two, somebody else who's in the health and wellness area and wants to promote. And all of a sudden we've generated interest and activity, and it only cost us $100 because we pooled our resources with other people who are similar to us. So this is not new in terms of concept. This has been going on for a really long time, this idea of businesses partnering together to promote themselves. And the original place this happened was a Chamber of Commerce. So most towns have a Chamber of Commerce, and their purpose in life is to connect small business owners in the same town together so that they can cross-promote each other. And when they cross-promote, they don't need the 5 to 8 because they're being referred. So Chamber of Commerce, if you're not a member of one, I suggest that's something that you look into. There are also business associations. So did you know there was a Brewers Guild? So all the breweries in Connecticut are part of the Brewers Guild. There's probably a nail salon guild, and there's probably, I just blanked out on another option, but there's usually an association for every type of business, pizza place guild. And you want to be connected with those other business owners. Why? so that you can create joint offers, so that you can create joint events, so that you could pool your money together and do a mailer, to a larger group, because you pooled your money together and then everybody gets listed on that mailer. The digital version of finding other business owners is Facebook. So on Facebook, there's a million groups. Some of them are for people who like to bird. Some of them are for people who like growing flowers. Some of them are town groups, but there's a ton of business groups, and they're very, very specific. It's like, women business owners in Southeast Connecticut, or people who have a business in Connecticut, or people who have business in New England. So there's lots and lots of business groups out there. So lots and lots of business owners that you could connect with. And either if you share the same target customer, you can join together and do a promotion, or if you have a similar service, you can join together your ad dollars or your marketing money in order to do a joint advertisement. There are business groups on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is more of a white collar place, more executive, more someone at a big corporation. So there aren't as many groups. And then the groups that are in there are less diverse, I would say. So, but still worth looking at. So we have all these business owners that can help us market our products and services. There are other people that we need. And if we have a company, it may be our employees, or if we're solopreneurs, it could be your family. And so within your company or within your community, you want to look for anyone who can do emotional or visual writing. So someone who is constantly talking and uses lots of adjectives, and they can help you write some of your copy. You want to find somebody who can do some more artistic photos. So if there's a young person and they're always on Instagram, that might be your little artistic photo resource. Anybody who can do basic promo design in order to have your promotion look pretty decent. You can usually find somebody's a nephew, a niece, somebody who does a little bit of graphic design. And then you want somebody who can just keep posting for you. Just post. Because one of the things we talked about was the 5 to 8 rule means that you have to constantly be putting your message out. Not like every day, 24 hours a day, but you have a regularly scheduled thing that should happen all the time. And so if you can find a resource to do that for you, that's within either your community or an employee that works for you already, and add it to their assignment, that's a really good thing.
Hey, Sarah, it looks like we've got a question. Would you like to take it now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, looks like Jay Echo. I'm going to try to unmute your line here. Did you have a question?
No, that must have been an error on my part. I apologize.
Okay, no problem.
So I think I'd like to take just a moment, only because I've been talking very, very fast. And I would love if everyone could put into the chat box who their target customer is, and see if we have any overlap even in this call. So let's see, does anybody here, let me look at the chat. Do you have anybody in the chat? Well, I'll give you some time to do it. So anyone who's up for it, put your target audience in there just so we can see if there's any overlap in the audiences, just the participants on this webinar. That would be really interesting to know. That would be really great. So now that we know the rules of the game, we need to get in front of someone 5 to 8 times, or we need to be referred to break that rule, and that we don't want to play the game alone. We want to find other business owners that we can collaborate with in order to generate excitement that we can then use to get customers without paying too much. Let's talk about how we start the game. Every game starts with 2 pieces of information: your target audience and a special offer. Now, your target audience can't be general. It has to be very specific. So you can't say women, men. So we're all different. There's a lot of different kinds of women. We have type A women who like things neat and just so. We have bohemian ladies who go with the wind, and however things go is perfectly fine. And so it's very important that we define our target audience. And you'll see online there's lots of resources about how to define your target audience, but they get a little bit complicated. I do it much more simply. It's, I have this audience who needs blank because of blank. So women 25 to 35 who are starting with their first job, who need to look good because they want to impress their boss. And the result is I can sell them all kinds of beauty products. So once you have that target audience in hand, you also need a special offer. Now, the good news about special offers is there are no new special offers. There's no new ones. They've all been done, every single one. So what you want to do is go out to the marketplace and find other people who do exactly what you do and see what their offers are. If everybody's offering 28% off the first meal, then that is a special offer that's generally working for them. We can try different things, but that's generally the one you want to start with. If every karate shop, karate place is offering a free class plus outfit, maybe the free class is not enough. Maybe they found out that they also need to include the outfit. And once the child puts on the outfit, they're sold. They definitely want to be, some kung fu fighter kind of thing. So if we have our target audience and we go out to the marketplace and find out what special offers are generally given for our type of product or service, we can then start playing our game. We're at the exciting part of the thrifty marketing plays. So having done this for years and years and years and years, these are 5 plays that I use all the time. Now, 4 of them are in green because they are generally used for lower price items. I would say anything to $250 and less. If you were selling a very high priced item, remember how we talked about the 5 to 8 touches? And if you're selling a car, you need like 12 to 14. If you're a high priced item, plays 1 through 4 won't get you enough touches. They might start you on the path to get enough touches. They'll get you to probably 5, but they won't get you to the 12. So that's why I included play number 5, which is for any high priced products or consulting services. This is my number 1 go-to for higher priced items. So what are we talking about today? We have play number 1, the Facebook Flex. I kind of love Facebook, but eventually you can kind of swap out Facebook for any of the social media platforms. All the social media channels have a different audience. So the people on TikTok are not the people who are on Facebook, are not the people who are on Pinterest, are not the people who are on LinkedIn. So based on your business, you would have a different social channel, but play number 1, will be a good way to kind of talk about how that works. Play number 2 is the Google Give and Go. So Google is the number 1 search engine on the planet. And there's a specific play that I like that starts with Google. Play number 3 is called the Media Maneuver. It's all about an online magazine. Play number 4 is the Triple Partner Pass. And play number 5 is the Webinar Reel-In. So I'm just going to jump right in. This presentation and all the details for all these plays will actually be on my website. So if you go to blecherdigital.com/score, you can go through this whole presentation later. So you can just sit back, relax, listen to all of this. And then later on, if there's one of these plays that you particularly like, you can go back in, skip to that slide, and then sort of copy down the cheat sheet. So let's talk first about the Facebook Flex. Oh, we'll jump ahead. So we're starting at the 50-yard line. We know we need to get 5 to 8 touches. So we're going to start posting in some Facebook groups. Back in the day, you used to post on your Facebook page and people would like your page and then they would see your posts. Well, us marketers, we got excited. We're like, oh, we post on our page and people will see our posts. Let's post a lot of stuff. So all of us marketers went on our page and we started posting like crazy. And then people were complaining that it was irrelevant and the stuff was annoying. And so Facebook turned down the volume on all those posts and said, oh, this is garbage. People don't really like it. So now when you post on your page, only 5% of the people who liked you see your posts. And they only see posts where other people have like commented and liked and that sort of thing. And there was some activity on it. So if you're spending a lot of effort posting on your own page, it's not as effective as posting in the whole other section of Facebook, which is called Facebook groups. So Facebook groups is a big, giant universe. It's like a 24-hour party, or not, depending on which group you're in. Could be pretty staid. But in there are like 5 groups for the town of Simsbury. right? There's business groups, there's mom groups, there's topical groups. I am part of 4 different garden groups. And more. So based on what you're selling, there are groups for you. You can go into the business groups and create partnerships with other businesses that share your same audience, or you can go into the topical groups and try to promote what you're selling in those groups. Now, there are 3 kinds of groups. There are small groups, there are medium groups, there are large groups, and they all act differently. So the small groups have an owner, and the owner is usually, do not post in my group, not ever. And it's because they want to keep their group small and they want to keep it relevant. What you can do is contact the owner in a private message and say, hey, I have this special offer. Would you consider posting it? And I'll give you $5 for everyone who buys, or I'll give you 5% for anyone who buys. At which point the owner goes, okay. Now, for the medium-sized groups, they say, do not post in my group, except on Wednesday at noon, except on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. on this specific post. So you go through all the medium-sized groups. And when I say medium-sized, they have 2,000, 3,000 people, right? So they are not, it's not a small audience. And you say, okay, every Tuesday I have to post here, every Friday I have to post there. And then there's large groups, and it's every man for themselves. You can post as much as you want. And every time you post something, it immediately goes down because other people are posting. So for those groups, you can post every single day. Now, if someone follows that group and you're posting once a week, they may see you once a week, at which point it'll take 5 to 8 weeks before they click to your site. But there are a couple of people who will click over to your site and say, what is this thing? This thing looks fairly interesting, especially if there's a special offer, 20% off. Let me check that out. So they visit your website, and that's 2 touches. So they saw you on Facebook, they saw you on your website. We're not at 5, we're not in play. There's something called remarketing ads. It's just like a regular ad. You go on Facebook, you create an ad, has a headline, has a description, has an image. But when you pick your target audience, you pick people who have been to my website before. And what that does is, if a person from one of those Facebook groups did go to your website, they then see your ad. So they saw me in the Facebook group, visited the website, I see your ad, maybe I see you in the group the next week, see another ad, now we're at 6, now we're in play. The person's like, oh, they feel familiar to me, they feel comforting. I'm not, they're not a complete stranger anymore. I keep seeing them over and over again. So that's how the Facebook Flex works. Basically, you start off in a Facebook group promoting your stuff, or 10,000 Facebook groups promoting your stuff. A few of those people go to your website, and then they see you in these remarketing ads.
Sir, we got a question about that, about if there's no promotion in those groups. I guess that goes back to your suggestion about contacting the moderator of the group.
Yes. And in general, you want to incentivize everyone, right? So this person who owns the group has taken a lot of care to make sure the group is not overrun by marketers, right? So you're not going to be able to do your traditional ad that you would put in a newspaper, or traditional ad that you would put in an ad spot. It's going to have to be softer, more conversational. It would be the same kind of approach you would take if you were talking to somebody at the PTA, right? You just met them, they don't know you too much. You wouldn't do the hard sell. You do a softer sell, and then you'll let the group owner know that if people use that code, we'll talk about coupon codes in a little bit, but if they use that code, that she gets $5 or she gets $10. And some of the group owners will say no, but some will say yes. So it's just about, there's so many groups, there's so many. You just keep looking. So let's move on to the second play. Ooh, the Google give and go. This is a good one. Okay, so Google is the #1 search engine on the planet, and people type into the search bar the least number of words they can to get to their desired result. So people are not verbose. They type in plumber, right? Or plum. People type in the least they can, and they get a result. And then a lot of times the first or the second step is they click on the map. So I want to find a plumber near me. Being on that map is critical to local marketing. You need to be on that map. And the way to get on that map is to go to Google My Business and get a free listing where you can put your photos, you can put your special offer, you can write some copy about how, you know, the product or the service and how great it is. And you can link over to your website where they can get a coupon or sign up for an event or maybe sign up for a sweepstakes. But the important thing is we want them to sign up for something so that we can get their email address. So the user goes to Google, they type in hair salon, they click map, and you either appear or you don't. And if you do appear and you have photos and copy and a special offer, you appear more prominently. And even in the Google My Business, if you can get a couple of reviews up there where you ask your best customers to give you a couple of reviews, and then maybe you give them something in exchange, like a, you know, $5 off their next haircut. Incentivize everyone. That's what we want to do. And then someone will see that and they'll click on it. They'll go to your special offer page, and let's say they give you their email address. This is when you can use email to follow up. So they gave you your email address, so you send them a helpful email. You send them something that says, oh my goodness, you know, thank you so much. Or maybe it's a sweepstakes. You have been entered to win this, you know, free meals for a week. That's amazing. Follow-up number 2 is, do you know more about health? Let me tell you more about healthy eating, or let me introduce you to our chef. Email number 3 is going to be like, there is a winner. It was not you, but take this 20% off coupon anyway. Everyone wins. And so we use email to keep at them and eventually get to our 5 touches. Now, ideally, some people will take more. It'll take them till 8. So that's a way to use the Google Maps search as your starting point and use email to close the deal. So let's go to play number 3. Are you ready for this? The media maneuver. Ooh, this is a good one too. Okay, so here we start with a magazine article. So when you're a big business, you just buy ad space. You don't have to do any of this stuff. You just pay tons of money for ads. The ads get in front of someone 5 to 8 times. They click through, and you know, obviously you're out a ton of money, but you've gotten yourself a new client. Those businesses can buy the ad spaces on the outside of an online magazine site. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be on the outside. You want to be in the article. So there are magazines that sell or that talk about the types of things that you sell. The example would be Eat in Connecticut has an article about Thanksgiving dinner without cooking, right? If I am a meal prep chef and I offer Thanksgiving dinner, I want to be inside that article at the top. And Eat in Connecticut is not silly. They will say, you can be there. It will cost you $350 or it'll cost you $500. But that's not a bad amount of money to spend to be in an article in a trusted publication. They will send hundreds of people to your website, and then what do we use? Remarketing ads. And maybe on our website, in order to get your coupon, you have to give us your email address, at which point we follow up via email with special offer codes and different things that you can get. And maybe we're doing a 3-partner promotion where you get some food, you get some health guidance from a nutritionist, and you get a free 2 weeks at a gym, and I send that out to you. And then I hit you again with a remarketing ad. And now I'm at 5 touches, but it all started with a magazine article where you were in the center of it. We don't want to buy the spots on the outside. Let's see. Oh, 4. This is my favorite. I still love this one. So it's a 3-partner. It's called the triple partner pass because there's 3 partner promotions. You can do it with 2 partners. You can do it with 4, but the world works on 3s. It always has, it always will. People love 3s. So you find 3 people who share the same target audience, and you each give a little bit of something worth value. So I might say, oh, you get a free, I make candles, get a free candle. I do energy bracelet, or I do energy jewelry. So maybe you get a free bracelet. And then somebody else does maybe Reiki, which is that sort of energy work. And they give, maybe free half-hour kind of service. Or maybe it's not free. Maybe it's a $500 value and you can buy it for $99. And a lot of people take advantage of those kind of combined offers, and they actually give them away as gifts. So the person saw it, they purchased it, and then they introduced it to another human that they've given it away to. So how this works is you come together, you think about what each of you could offer as a package that would be really great, and then you each email your lists. Now, do you email your list once? No, 3 times. If you email your list once, we're not going to get to the number of touches that we need. So you want to announce it. This is what we're offering. You want to celebrate it. Oh, people are excited about this. And then you want to give everyone a last chance. Last chance to going away, not going to be here for long, limited time. And then, you know, you're going to do that, and 2 other business owners are going to do that. They're going to pass it on to their friends. They're going to mention it to other friends via social media, and you've generated excitement without paying any money. You're also not only with your email lists, because some people, their email lists aren't very robust, right? You haven't been collecting emails yet because you hadn't come up with a special offer, or you hadn't done a sweepstakes in order to get everybody's email. So you'll post on your social pages, and you're not going to post once, are you? No, 3 times. You're going to announce it, you're going to celebrate it, and you're going to talk about the last chance. And then you're also going to go into community groups. Now, the community groups could be on Facebook, the community groups could be in person, could be at the, you know, you're connected to the Chamber of Commerce. You could mention it to everyone who's part of your association of health, you know, health and wellness professionals. And if you were to go into Facebook, you can also divide the work. You can say, okay, we know we want to post 3 times in every group. So let's create a whole list of groups and then divide and conquer so that you don't all have to do, you know, the same work. And don't forget, you know, even though we're talking about digital, if you are a local business, flyers in your own personal store, if you do have a storefront, and flyers around town. So there are lots of community bulletin boards, you know, even in every Starbucks you have one, every coffee shop you have one. And so what you would do is you come up with a flyer that says everybody, you know, has all 3 people on it and all 3 offers. And then you maybe share the cost of the printing of that, or perhaps you're not so good at, you know, you don't have a way to do graphic design, so you share the cost of graphic design. And printing of flyers is pretty inexpensive. You can go to a Staples kind of thing and get that done pretty cheaply too. And then you just go out, you know, to the 3 towns or the 4 towns in your area, and you go to every coffee shop and every community place and you post it on the bulletin board. So this is play number 4 is probably one of the most effective. There's a lot of credibility there. Trust happens very quickly. And you'll hear a lot, like if you read about marketing online, about relationship building. What they mean is just touch points. How many times have you been in front of somebody? You can imagine if you meet somebody for the first time, you don't have a relationship with them. They are not even an acquaintance, really. They're kind of a stranger. So you need to set up for yourself a way to keep, you know, hanging out with them until eventually they feel comfortable enough, you know, their temperature comes down, the anxiety comes down, and they say, oh yeah, I really, you know, I know you and I kind of like what you're offering. And now I do trust that it's worth the money. So the last and final play, if everyone's still there, still with me, this is for the really expensive items. So if you are selling a technology solution, you can't put it in a flyer. It's not going to work. If you're selling financial consulting services at thousands of dollars, you know, you're not going to be able to go on the Facebook groups, although actually you probably could, depending on which group. But it's going to take a lot more effort. So let's look at play number 5, the webinar reel-in. So webinars, back in the day, there was no internet, right? So in order to get information about how to solve your problem, you had to call a salesperson. And that salesperson gave you the education that you needed to make better decisions about what you ultimately wanted or needed to buy. The internet came along and that all changed. Everybody's like, I don't want to talk to a salesperson. I want to find out myself because I don't want to be tricked by a salesperson. I want to find out as much as I can about what's out there so I can get myself set up to figure out what I really need and not overspend, right? So that's when the webinar showed up, right? And it was like, okay, you'd have this webinar and I'm going to give you information. And and I'm going to tell you all about X, Y, and Z. And it became whoever educates the client wins the client. So if you were the person to give them the information, then they felt more comfortable with you. So this play starts off at the 50-yard line, but then we end up going back to the 50-yard line and coming back again. So you'd have a webinar that answers some key question that your customer has, some key worry that they have, and you say the 10 things that you need to know before doing X. And then you promote that webinar on LinkedIn. You can promote it on Facebook. There's actually a ton of websites where you can promote your webinar. You can even on Eventbrite, you put your webinar up there, and you drive people to this webinar promotion. You can even do a few ads if you wanted. And then a handful of people sign up for the webinar, and then they attend the webinar. So now we're at 3. Some people will not attend the webinar. They are busy, they thought they could, they were excited about it, but life happened. So they actually get an email and they'll watch the replay, right? So we may have somebody who attended, somebody wants to go back and say, well, let me watch the replay. Then we start to email them, right? Did you know this? Maybe we tell them something else helpful. One of the things about offering the more expensive services is typically you're offering them to a business, and we don't need to advertise to businesses because we can get a list of them. Like, it's very easy to find out all the nail salons in Connecticut, or all the pizza places in Connecticut, or all the auto repair shops in Connecticut. So you can actually get the owners and their names. So, maybe somebody joined the webinar, you got their contact information, and then you go, you know what, let me just give them a call. So you give them a call and you say, hey, what'd you think? Was it any good? Can I mail you something? And they go, no. You go, okay, that's not a lead. And the other person goes, yeah, sure, why not? And at that point, that's a lead for you. So you mail them a brochure, which costs you a little bit to put together, but you're rationing who gets them. And then you send a few more email updates. You could probably throw some remarketing ads in there. And now we're up to 10. Once we're at 10, we're in play for a more complicated sale. Now this one all starts with a webinar, but I actually saw somebody offer free sailing, afternoon sale. I thought, that's amazing. And it could work very much the same way, where you sign up for the afternoon sale. Unfortunately, you're stuck on a boat with a salesperson. But if they're friendly enough and you enjoy the water, then it could work. But that's not going to be the end of it. You have that person's going to have to email and phone call and brochure and marketing updates. And so this play is pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of components, right? Which is why you typically would get a marketing person involved. But if you don't have that kind of budget, as long as you have the list of to-dos, you can actually get through this list. So, is everyone still there? Everyone's still awake? You ready? How you win the game is pretty straightforward. You got to create a series of marketing moments that will get you in front of somebody between 5 to 8 times until they reliably convert. Once you find that process 5 to 8 times and they reliably convert, that's the one you do forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and you repeat your winning play. So for marketing, there should be some work in the beginning to figure out what your play is, but after you figure it out, you should be able to do that forever. Now technology will change, the world will change, and you might have to adjust things a little bit, but you'll know what the levers are and what things work. Who are our most valuable players? I think you know by now, I'm pretty sure. It's remarketing ads, which are ads to people who have visited your website, and it's email messages for sure. Now that I said that, there's a younger generation and they don't really love email, they do text. The challenge with marketing via text message is that the person who you text, if they text you back, they expect an immediate response. So if you have to use text, you use text, but it's very labor intensive. Email messages, there's no expectation of an immediate response. So, but with text messaging, you could probably convert pretty quickly. Tracking your stats. Ooh, this is a good one. You're going to hear this all over the internet, which is basically, you got to have a custom code for everything you try so that you know which one works. So if your special offer is the same, no matter where you are, I go to the town fair and it's 20% off, and I go over, and give 20% off over here, and I give 20% off over there. You want to know which of those channels worked. So you're going to want to create a coupon code, even if it's the same value off. So it'll be like Facebook 20, Google 20, Chamber of Commerce 20, Association 20, wherever you're using, wherever you're putting your offer out, you just want to have a custom code so that you know where that person came from. Success. It was so easy. Not exactly, but it is straightforward. So in order to know that we've been successful, we need to find our winning play. We only need one. So when we find it, we can relax. We need to get ourselves some teammates, which are other business owners who share the same target audience as us. We want to create offers and events together. We want to reflect on all the things we've done in the past. And if they haven't worked, thought to ourselves, okay, did I get to 5 touches? Did I get in front of that client 8 times? And for anything I do going forward, do I have a plan to get back in front of them more times in order to get to a place where they can actually feel comfortable enough to convert? Always use email and remarketing ads to get over the finish line. So if there was one thing to learn, I would say email, getting comfortable with your email system, and comfortable with doing basic ads that are targeted at people who've been to your website before are 2 critical skills for a small business owner. And at the end of the day, the big goal is to be able to handle this off. So eventually to have enough clients or customers that you can pay somebody to do it, or if you're still in the growth stage, to be able to give it to an employee and repeat and repeat and rinse and repeat. So that's me. Yay. So there was so much information in this presentation, and a lot of it was very detail oriented. If you're thinking that you need a rest, you need a break, you need to get a cup of coffee, and then sometimes tomorrow you're like, you know what, I think I would like to try that play. You can get a copy of this presentation at blecherdigital.com/score. And then you just click on it and you can get through to whatever screen you want to jump to, and then figure out how you might apply that marketing play to your specific product or service. And that is it.
Sarah, that was great. I think we'll open it up for questions. We still have a few minutes here. If folks have any questions, they can either put it in the chat window down at the bottom, or you can click the raise hand button and I can unmute your line and you can talk. We'll also get a recording of this presentation out to everybody if you'd like to revisit the audio and video component of it, in addition to Sarah's website where a copy of the presentation is available. I think that the key thing that resonates with me, especially as I think about working with some of my clients, are, on the one hand, it can seem overwhelming because you just think, wow, there's just so much out there. But I look at it as there's so many options out there. And your point about picking one to start with and do that excellent and do it really well. And it's all about execution on kind of that one idea. So that was kind of the resonating point for me as I went through that. It was very well done. All right. Looking in the chat box, I don't see any questions yet. We do have all the business owners who are out there. Sir, if you wanted to review any of those in the chat box, we've got some folks in different types of industries here, which is interesting.
Yeah, maybe you can call a few of them out for me.
Yeah, so we've got
share the same audience.
So we've got entrepreneurs, women in leadership, early to mid-career HR professionals, commercial properties, women, men's, and children's clothing. Carlos has got a clothing line. We've got Taylor is targeting gamers, weapon collectors, and gemstone collectors, ages 18 to 30. Let's see. Greg is targeting small businesses lacking sufficient staffing resources or expertise by providing employment background checks, investigations, vetting of individuals, contractors, vendors. That's very specific, which is great. I heard Leslie's already. Those are really, really good. So here's a question from Greg. What email marketing services do you prefer?
There's a ton out there and they're all good. Most people will go with something like a MailChimp, or you might probably have heard of Constant Contacts. I like one called MailerLite. It's $12 a month, and you don't need any explanation into how to use it. And that is really important with the small business owners that I work with, is they don't need to learn another tool, right? They don't need a manual. They just want something that's simple, that they go, oh, I get this. I just drag it and drop it, change the copy, and I'm good. And it allows you at a very, very low price point, you know, $12 a month, you're probably at like $144 a year, that you can both collect emails and then send emails out. Also, all of the email services that are offered out there do two things. You can send, you can send an email immediately. You can schedule when it gets sent, but the one that I like the best are the automations. So you create an email, and when someone comes in that's new, you actually send them maybe 3 emails in a row. But you don't have to be there to do it. You just set the 3 emails up, and one is like, welcome to the family. And the second one is, you know, have you followed us on social media? And the third one is, here's a special offer just because we like you. And those emails, they say people are most interested in you for the 10 days following the first contact. So after that 10 days, they're on to some other business. So you have a 10-day window in order to email them maybe 2-3 times and just start the touches, right? And then you can set up those 3 emails. It's actually called a welcome stream. Welcome, follow us on social media, some sort of just for you kind of thing. And you can set that up in MailerLite very easily. And then when someone comes into the system, they automatically get those emails on day 1, day 3, day 7, whatever you set. Now, all the email systems will allow you to do that, but they're complicated. So I like MailerLite because it's simple.
I just put the name of that in the chat box just in case folks wanted to be able to see how to spell that. So
yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Any other questions?
I also like sweepstakes for, the word is kind of silly, but I like giveaways for collecting emails. So I was at a ball game, actually the Yard Goats. I recommend that. And there was a person giving away a free week's worth of healthy meals, right? And people were signing up to enter to win. And so that's a really good way to collect emails. And I actually even overheard a woman that said, oh, no, that's okay. This says healthy meals, and I'm not really interested in that. So how you position, what you offer in your sweepstakes could actually attract the kind of customers that you want, or what you offer in your giveaway could attract the customers you want, and it could repel the customers you don't want, which is actually key, because you don't really want people on your list that aren't interested in the kind of thing you offer.
Sarah, I got a question here from Carlos. Says, my target audience is parents with special needs. How do I approach them to purchase an item like a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, etc.?
Well, actually, targeting parents who have children with special needs is pretty straightforward. Those groups are tight-knit, very tight-knit. Once you find yourself on the dyslexia train or the dysgraphia train or the ADHD train, there are groups in Facebook that center around that specifically. And there are actually communities outside of Facebook, like closed communities. I think there's a site called understood.org. And so what you can do is go into those Facebook groups and just be an active participant and say, you know, I'm offering these t-shirts, and if anybody's interested, that's level 1. Like, here's my t-shirts. What do you think? Level 2 would be, I'm giving away a free t-shirt, and, you know, we'll make a donation to a nonprofit, usually a nonprofit that has to do with the special needs. For anyone who buys this t-shirt, I'm going to give $5 to this nonprofit, right? So I'm incentivizing everyone. I'm telling you about my t-shirt, but you're going to want to buy it, not just for the shirt, you're going to want to buy it because $5 goes to the Dyslexia Foundation. So there's lots of ways in order to create promotions. And then one of the places I just start is Facebook, because there's so many freaking humans there. But there's lots and lots of other places online, communities online too. And usually you would use Google to find them. You would pretend that you were a parent with a special needs kid and you would search for resources, and then whatever comes up, that's where you want to also be.
Sarah, here's a good question from Vanessa. How do you feel about influencer marketing?
It all depends. So there's 3 different levels of influencers. There's like micro influencers, and then medium influencers, and then really big influencers. So the really big influencers are super expensive. They just cost a lot of money. The medium influencers have reasonable prices that you could get posted in their feeds, but they're not going to post you multiple times, right? They're only going to do it once. And so you have to come up with some sort of offer or some sort of custom combination promotion with them that you then get the person to arrive at your website, or that they have to sign up for a free giveaway or something of that nature. Because if they see you on this influencer site and you paid to be there, right, you're not going to get another shot at it. So you need to find a way to extend it so you can get to your 5 to 8. And then there are micro influencers where you have the same sort of problem, where they'll post about you for free or for product. Usually the micro influencers need content. They're trying to be an influencer. They don't have quite the, so with them as well, they, it depends on who their audience is. They may, if they have an audience that you need access to, you could probably use a micro influencer, but you want to make sure that they're posting about you multiple times in a row.
Right. Any other last call for questions before we wrap up? All right. Not seeing anything else in the chat. So for those of you who may have joined a couple minutes late, just to reiterate, SCORE, if you're interested in our services, we offer one-on-one mentoring services. We offer workshops and webinars. We have a host of information on our website, articles, videos, templates, etc. Sarah and I are both part of the Greater Hartford chapter, but SCORE is a nationwide organization that has a wealth of experience across many areas of expertise and industries. So if you are in need of help for your business, please check out our website at score.org. And thank you all very much for attending today and for all of your active participation, and good luck with your business, and let us know what we can do to help. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck marketing.